Good morning. Today is winter solstice, which means that sunrise is about 12 minutes past 8 and sunset is about 4:15. It's going to be a really short day, but I'm going to spend the entire day doing photography and I'm hoping to pack in as much as I possibly can. Now, unfortunately, the weather is terrible. It's grey and overcast, 100% cloud coverage for most of the day, so I'm going to have to work really hard to get some images. Let's make a start though. So for my first location of the day, I've come to the beautiful coastal town of Sidmouth in Devon, where I'm going to be embracing the grey once again, and I'm going to be doing some long exposures down by the coast. Let me get set up and I'll talk you through my first composition. So for my first composition of this morning, I've come down to this groin to do a long exposure. Now this groin is quite interesting because it's got a nice curve as it comes out from the beach and then curves out into the sea, and then there's a marker just off the edge of the groin. So I'm going to use that. The tide's not all the way up, so I can't not include any of the beach and still include some of the curvature of the groin. But I'm going to use that, so I'm going to create a small triangle in the bottom right hand corner which includes the beach, and then I'm going to have the groin curving out from the bottom left hand corner out into the sea. Okay, I've got the camera all set out and I'm just about ready to take the shot. Despite the actual grey weather, I think I actually might get a half decent shot here. Like I said before in my videos, sometimes you just got to embrace the grey and see what happens. So this could be quite a good shot. So what I've done is I put my circular polarizer on the front. Now that's just to take some of the sheen off the top of the water and some of the reflections from the wet groin there. So just to kind of darken it down and add more to that mood that I'm going for. I'm also going to put in a stopper, probably start off with a little stopper, but maybe migrate to the 10 stopper because I want to get an exposure time of a few minutes. The cloud doesn't need that much in the way of kind of smoothing out. It's already quite flat and grey anyway. This is more to smooth out the water to give me that nice ethereal look that I'm going to go for. So really sort of simplify the entire image. So I've got all that set in. I'm just going to dial in my exposure. I'll pop up the camera settings on the screen in just a second. So let's take the picture. Well, I think that image has actually not come out too badly. I have to admit, when I woke up this morning, or certainly when I was planning today's trip, I wasn't exactly full of motivation. Grey overcast skies for a full day of photography can be a bit of a challenge. But this has been a good start to the day. It's a very simple, minimalistic image, but I think this is really going to be the theme of the day. But you know, I've got another few locations that I'm going to think of, that I have thought of, that should suit this style of photography well. But I'm going to have a wander about Sidmouth, see what other compositions I can find, and then of course coffee and breakfast. Okay, I've had some breakfast and I've had some coffee, so I'm definitely ready to do some more photography now. Now I've come to Ladram Bay, which is just down the road from Sidmouth. Let me show you why I'm here. As you've seen, the main thing about this location is those wonderful sea stacks. However, I'm shooting here in the middle of the day, the light is very flat and the tide is pretty well gone out, so I really don't think there's an image to be had here. I thought if I come down, I might be able to do some long exposure, it might look alright, but I had a look around some of the sea stacks and it just looks very flat. I'd just be putting one of the sea stacks in the frame and it wouldn't really be doing anything, even with a long exposure. So I'm going to move on and get to my next location where hopefully I'll have a bit more luck. So I'll see you in a minute. Hello again. So I have moved much further down the coast now and I'm at a place called Beesands. I'm actually on my way to Start Point Lighthouse, which is where I'm going to finish the day. So it's been a couple of hours since I've done some shooting and I kind of have to admit emotionally I've been a bit up and down. Obviously I didn't have much luck at Ladram Bay. I don't know, the grey weather's just been getting me down. I'm feeling a bit uncreative. You know, it was quite good this morning when I was at Sidmouth,
I was kind of left that in a bit of a high, but you know, I don't know, it's just been a funny day, and I think sometimes, just some days, you know, as a landscape photographer, you get highs and lows. I seem to be going up and down today. But I've come to Beesands because there's a really nice beach here, and I'm just actually now just doing a long exposure. Again, a really simple composition. There is some texture in the sky, but not very much. It's still pretty grey and overcast. But I've selected 3 rocks out in the beach there. I'm doing a nice long exposure with a 10-stop filter and a 10-stop neutral density. So I've got a couple of test shots and it looks all right. So I'm pretty optimistic that I might be able to get something from here. So let me take you over there and I'll talk you through it in a bit more detail. Okay, so here's what I've got. So the camera and the tripod there just behind me. Just in front of that, there are 3 large rocks on the sandy beach, kind of arranged in what looks like a triangular shape. So I've got the middle rock right in the middle of the frame, and then I've got one off to the left and one off to the right, and I've got the rising tide as it comes in and brings some really nice waves and some white water as that pulls back. So I've got my circular polarizer on just to intensify some of the colour in the water, and I've got my 10-stop neutral density filter in to give me that long exposure and to smooth out that sea and to take the texture that's in the sky and just streak that across the sky. So I think that might make for an interesting image. So I'm going to take the picture and let's see what it looks like. Hello and welcome to Start Point, my final destination of today. I'm feeling a bit more excited now. Having a good photograph down at Beesands has kind of lifted my creativity a bit. Like I said earlier, it's been a bit highs and lows for me today. So the sky is actually clearing just a little bit. There's a bit more texture in the sky. I can even spot some blue spots. So I don't think we're going to get some sort of epic sunset. That's not going to happen. But there might be a little bit of colour in the sky, a little bit of texture that I can use in my composition. There's a couple of ways I can shoot Start Point. I think I'm going to go for the classic looking down the peninsula towards the lighthouse. I think if I go off to the west and shoot it on the side, there's not going to be much in the way of light or interest, because as the sun sets behind me in that location, it's going to set behind some clouds and just not going to get the lighting. So I think my best chance is to go for the classic shoot down the peninsula, get the lighthouse, get some nice interest in the sky, and I think that's what's going to give me the best chance of getting an image. So I'm going to wander down the path and see what I can find in the way of compositions. Okay, here we are on the peninsula, and I've got, hopefully you can see it, Start Point lighthouse there just behind me. For me, this is my classic Start Point viewpoint. I come here, if I'm going to shoot Start Point, this is the spot I shoot from. It works particularly well at sunrise actually, because normally you get the sun rising straight off the sea there, and you can get some really nice light first thing in the morning. So I've never shot here for sunset. Normally I pick, like I say, pick the westward side, but there's not going to be any light coming from there. Just had a look, it's all blanketed in clouds. So this is going to be my best spot, and there is some texture and colour in the sky. So I better stop the talking, get the tripod set up. I'll come back to you in just a second.
I know that you're curious, I know that you're strong, but life can be furious and things can go wrong. You go, we're better off tomorrow, but who knows if we get joy or sorrow.
Okay, here's how I've got things set up. So I've got a line of rocks coming from the bottom left hand corner of the frame as it leads you through the image to the lighthouse and then out to the sea. I've also placed one of the rocky islands in the right hand corner just to kind of hold that frame, and I've got that nice sky. I'm going to go for a long exposure, so I'm either going to use my 10-stop filter or my 6-stop filter, and I've already put on my circular polarizer. This is just to really make the most of that turquoise colour in the sea. So all set up, let's take an image.
There's things in life you simply need to know, but sun and rain and trust in letting go. It takes a bit of suffering, sleepless nights and wandering, before you make it safely to the end, the end, the end.
I'm very excited. Something amazing has just happened. Literally just when I was about to pack up and I thought, that's the end of it. There's actually a massive gap down the west coast there, and the sun is a beautiful bright orange, and it's just dropping below the cloud. There's a nice sort of beam of light going across the sea in a nice golden colour. But what it's doing is it's just illuminating the lighthouse just a little bit with some orange glow, and on the side of the rocks and the grass there. So I've just done another exposure. Hopefully I'm going to be able to make the most of it. Once that exposure is finished though, I think I'm going to try and take a shot directly into the sun, capturing the coast and that lovely reflection of that gorgeous orange sun. Wow, what a day.
There's things in life you simply need to know, like sun and rain and trust in letting go. It takes a bit of suffering.
Oh, this is amazing. After the day that I've had, the sky has just gone really red. It's absolutely beautiful up here. I've stopped photographing the lighthouse. I've turned the camera around. I'm shooting west up the coast, straight towards the sun. I'm not sure it's going to make a really good photo or not, but sometimes, even if it doesn't, it's such a beautiful view. After the day I've had staring at grey skies, that is just magical. In fact, I think it's just going to dip behind the cloud now. And I think it's going to end any second. But I tell you, just to look at it for the last 5 minutes, it's just beautiful. I'm just going to pop up the photo on the screen anyway. Like I say, I'm not sure if it's going to be any good or not. But what a sight and what a treat. What a nice way to end the day.
It takes a bit of suffering, sleepless nights and wandering, before you make it safely to the end. Before you make it safely to the end, the end.
Okay, the lighthouse light is on, the sun's gone down behind the horizon now. It's time to go home. But what a day. I have to say, for the shortest day of the year, it's pretty well been a packed day and an emotional roller coaster. I know I've touched on it a couple of times before, but I've been up and down all day actually, from a little bit of waking up going, oh God, this is not going to be worth it, then reaching Sidmouth, getting a nice shot, then heading to Ladram Bay and just feeling a bit down after that, and then getting a nice shot at Beesands, and then coming here, then getting all this excitement. And you know, when I was driving from Sidmouth heading towards Beesands and Start Point, I have to drive pretty close to home, and I was tempted at one point just to give up, go home, have a lie down and crack open a bottle of wine. But I know what a cruel mistress landscape photography can be. If you give up, she'll punish you, she'll give you something epic, and you'll see it from your house window and you go, oh, I should have stayed out, I should have stayed out. So I was committed to staying out, and I'm so glad that I stayed out and I managed to get these images, and I got that epic sunset. You know, even if I didn't get an image of that, it's just wondrous to watch. I just so glad I had the energy and I managed to stay out. So it's been a pretty funny day, but hopefully I've got some really nice images, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. So if you have enjoyed this video, I would really like it if you hit that like button, give it a thumbs up, and of course leave me a comment. I really appreciate everyone's comments. I get some really awesome comments from you guys, and I really do appreciate it. It gives me lots of encouragement to keep going, especially in days like this when I'm up and down, and I think I'm going to give up on landscape photography. So, but if you want to see more videos like this, you know, with the truth of landscape photography, it's not always fun, hit that subscribe button, and of course if you click on that bell icon, you'll receive a notification as soon as I post up a new video. So until the next adventure, I'll see you then.
Make it safely to the end. Before you make it safely to the end.